All right, New Jersey Governor John Corzine is one of the nation's incumbents under attack for his handling of the state's economy. The Democrat and former Goldman Sachs CEO trailing his challenger in the latest polls, and that man is Republican Christie, New Jersey's former chief federal law enforcement officer. So we got the budget problems, and then what are we calling this thing? Jersey Gate? I don't even know what we call it, but the politicians in Chicago are laughing at us, which is, I mean, in New Jersey, somehow we've now moved them aside, and we look even more ridiculous than they look.
We had a good laugh, though, didn't we? It lasted a couple months.
Yeah, we had a good laugh.
New Jersey just made a big comeback Thursday.
Off
of the Blagojevich stuff where we obviously fell behind. We're now back.
We're now back. Do you think some of that you can lay at the feet of Governor Corzine? Is that a stretch?
Listen, I think that whenever you enable people who are in the party boss system in New Jersey, and it is a big boss system in New Jersey, when you enable those people, that's a problem. And I think the governor over a period of time has not stood up for some of the reforms that he campaigned on. He campaigned on eliminating dual office holding, and then he grandfathered in all the current dual office holders. You know, kind of half measures that send the wrong message and the wrong tone. And I think when you enable people like that, it becomes part of the problem. But let's be clear, I don't think the governor himself is corrupt, and I don't think there's anything that indicates that at all. And I've said right from the beginning of the campaign, I like John Corzine. I think he's a good man. I just don't think he's provided the type of leadership New Jersey needs.
Okay. How would you handle the budget problems? Criticize what he's done, and what would you have done differently, do you think?
Well, listen, he started off right away out of the gate as governor, raising spending 20% in his first 2 years. And I think that was a huge mistake right off the bat. He came in saying he was going to cut the budget, he was going to scrub the budget, he was going to find efficiencies. And instead what he did was he rolled right over to the traditional kind of pork barrel spending that's gone on with the legislature down in Trenton. He imposed no discipline. And so he was digging a deeper and deeper hole. And when the recession came, we had no room to move. We were in worse shape than anybody, and we're in worse shape now than anybody in the region. Highest unemployment rate in the region, higher than Connecticut or New York, Pennsylvania, Delaware. All that's an indication of his policies, which are higher taxes, more spending, and we have to reverse those like the mayor did when he came in to New York in 1993.
Well, I support Chris. I should announce that I've been a big supporter of his, both as U.S. attorney and now as a candidate for governor. I think U.S. attorneys make great governors, by the way. But there's an article this morning in the Wall Street Journal by William McGurn, and basically it says that there's a connection between corruption and the massive increase in government that's taken place in New Jersey. I think government jobs have grown 5 times the number of private sector jobs during the last 6 or 7 years, so maybe even more than that.
Well, it's even more than that. In the last 7 years under McGreevey and Corzine, for every one private sector job, new private sector jobs have been created. 15 government jobs have been created, and so it's huge.
Do you agree with? I mean, and what would you do about it? I mean, basically McGurn's point is, if you have that much government, and I saw this in New York with regulation upon regulation upon inspectors, all kinds. You have that much regulation, you then have corruption that comes into it because businesses start offering money. People believe it's part of it, and in New Jersey, it looks like it's almost systemic.
It is systemic, and I've been saying this from the time I was U.S. attorney when people ask me why are we so corrupt. And one of the factors is clearly the targets of opportunity we have.
Right.
There are so many levels of government, so many people in this government, and more importantly, so many pots of money that are available for people to dip into that you have to reduce that. That's going to be one of the ways that you can do it. It's not a silver bullet, but it's one of the ways that you can help reduce the opportunities for people to be bribed.
And how do you actually deal with the number of public employees? How do you actually reduce it? Do you do it through layoffs? Do you do it through attrition? Do you do a combination of both?
I think both. I think layoffs and attrition, because we're in such, next year, the budget that John Corzine put forward this year, the nonpartisan Office of Legislative Services now says, because of the one-shots and the gimmicks and the use of stimulus money, we're looking at an $8 billion deficit for fiscal year 2011. That's in a $30 billion budget. $8 billion deficit because of the election year budget he's done. So you're going to have to do everything there. Layoffs, attrition, everything's got to be on the table because, we are in a huge hole.
The trick, or at least the perceived wisdom, is you do all these things in the first year, all these tough things in the first year. Did McGreevey or Corzine do that? Did they? I don't remember.
No.
But did they do that in their first year? Do the cutting and the reorganization?
Exact opposite. exact opposite. As I was just saying to Joe, you know, in Governor Corzine's first 2 years, his spending, state spending, went up 20% in the first 2 years. So he did the exact opposite. He did good time budgets, a lot of spending, $350 million in earmarks in one budget in the same time that he closed down the government to raise the sales tax. He gave $350 million of it away in earmarks, and we wound up indicting a couple of the people who were involved in that and sending them to jail when I was U.S. attorney because they were doing it to feather their own nest.
And, I mean, taxes are not low in New Jersey. Business taxes are not low. I've had anecdotal evidence of law firms buying firms in Pennsylvania because they're going to operate out of. Okay, so taxes are high.
Yes, sir.
All right, so then how do you close $8 billion? So then you're talking spending. So what happens? School lunches, all these people that need the money are the ones that are going to get affected by this,
listen,
like California. No sacred cows.
There can't be any sacred cows, but also there is enormous waste in the New Jersey budget. We're not going to find $8 billion in waste, Joe, as I talked about. We're going to have to do layoffs, and we're going to have to have losses of jobs by attrition. We're going to have to downsize the number of people. We're going to have to consolidate some agencies at the state level that are not doing their jobs the right way. We're going to have to do all of that. But in the end, as the mayor proved in New York, unless you cut the size of government significantly and then cut taxes, you're not going to have economic growth in New Jersey. The top rate in New Jersey now is 10.75%. Gross income tax, 10.75% on individuals and small businesses. Top rate in Pennsylvania, 3%.
Well, you're not.
You can't be competitive.
Nobody in the government's going to vote for you. I just want you to know that. Appreciate you coming in. We hope to have you again.
I'd be happy to come.
Have you come back. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
At the top of the hour.